Clean Twin is a casual first-person shooter about Diogenes syndrome, where you blast away grime and garbage to transform dirty, messy spaces. Senile squalor syndrome is a disorder characterized by extreme self-neglect, domestic squalor, social withdrawal, apathy. I haven't played a game in this genre. I could see how cleaning things can be sort of an inherently satisfying thing. So I have some hopes for this. That's a nice way to teach me to shoot, actually, making the tutorial UI into something you have to shoot. This is a very Roblox-esque kind of tutorial. But it's a good way to teach what they're trying to teach. Okay, exit, stand up, C, jump with space. Very lovely, arcadey, 8-bit jump sound. And we can sprint. Okay, this is really cool. This is strange and surreal in a way that I find quite pleasing. It's kind of giving Katamari. The use of low poly to be able to populate an area in such a chaotic way with objects feels very Katamari-esque. Am I supposed to carry some stuff out? So the walls, are they dirty? Can I shoot them with bubbles? I can carry stuff. Do I have to yeet it out of there? What was that? So it says that I've binned one thing because that thing exploded when I tried to throw it out of the window. Okay, so if you shoot when you're carrying something, it throws it, I think. One of the problems with tutorials is you need to be kind of consistent with the level of tutorialization. So if you have a key mechanic, like picking something up and throwing it by shooting, which is, I think, what was just happening to get rid of these objects. Like, why am I throwing it and shooting a bubble at the same time? But it's making my trash can go up. My trash can meter is going up each time I do this. So I think it's what I'm supposed to do. Just throw stuff out the window. And it explodes. Yeah, let's just try shooting the bubbles everywhere. Yeah, so you can clean the poop off of the wall. You've got two kind of goals, really. One is to get rid of all the trash objects, and the other is to clean the walls and all of this poop texture off of everything. The cleaning with the gun is going to feel more satisfying if everything doesn't have the same texture underneath it, because at the moment it looks like we're just cleaning brown off of beige. And I think if there are pretty things to reveal underneath here, or just something more pleasant, then it's going to feel more rewarding, because this is a lot of room to clean. Let's see what I've got on the tab, on the upgrade tab. Okay, so we've got a level up, and then we've got stuff we can choose. So I've got 2 points to spend. But I think maybe having this as like you must pick from these 3 choices each time you level up is going to make this feel more casual, because at the moment I have to read through all of these to make a decision about what I want, and that's good in RPGs when you're building a character and you want to build a particular type of character. But in an arcade game like this, where you know, the developer said that they want to go for a sort of casual audience, they want anyone to be able to play it, I think limiting the amount of choices each time you level up is probably a good shout. It's a pretty satisfying tool to upgrade. So I've given it sort of cluster blobs so it spreads further, and I'm guessing if I hit it in a corner it's gonna, oh no, that's a bit disappointing. Why is that happening? Yeah, trying to clean the corners is a little bit, I think it struggles to know whether it hit the wall or the floor. But I think in this kind of context, like, hitting that edge should clean both sides. I think it'd just be a bit more generous with the amount of cleaning the gun does. I know we want it to be upgradable, but that feels like a, you know, if you think of how this is implemented, that feels like a ray traced line to the wall, and then you clean the wall. And actually, that kind of ray tracing only makes sense when your gun is a laser beam or a single bullet. And this gun is not, it's an orb, right? It's like a grenade. So I think when that hits on the edges, we should see them getting cleaned on both surfaces. That sky out there is great. I love the just overall visual direction of this. Color Splash. We've got a whole tree of upgrades called Color Splash. I'm not sure what this means. Red Splash enables obstacles vaulting on wall slides. Let's try this. So are these going to be like paint colors that come out occasionally? Not sure. Is there nowhere else I can throw stuff to get rid of it? I have to go out that window. So I'm going to have probably some areas of this wall that I can't even reach with my projectiles until I've leveled them up. I think. These corners are going to be a bit of a sticking point. I think that's like one thing to try and fix earlier is how the bubbles behave in corners, making it a bit more generous. I think the bin currency is just like the overall score, but well, it's not the overall score, is it? Because the cleaned bar at the top is very faint. I don't know if you can see that on stream. It says 1.5% cleaned. Probably not going to get to 100% this unless it works sort of like a clicker game and the upgrades that you get for the tools and stuff become very, very like powerful in a sort of exponential way. But I'm not really leveling up fast enough to feel a lot of that. I will say, I think this is a very good use of two mechanics. They fit together very well. They're variations on the same thing, but you get to do a different action. And it's definitely the sort of game where I think the game comes out of the player developing their little efficiency strategy. Oh. Okay. I think maybe I've been cheating for the first half of the game. You can just bubble blast the objects, but I was focusing on throwing them out the window because that was quicker. I don't know if I basically discovered the strategy that's supposed to be a hidden thing before the thing that the game wants you to do, which is shoot them with the gun. Personally, I think if you're shooting at the walls, then the objects should be, you know, a different mechanic. So the way I've been playing it, where I throw stuff out the window, I think combining the mechanics of shooting the walls with throwing the trash into things makes for a much more interesting game than treating this as a FPS with enemies that don't attack you, which is kind of what happens when you shoot the trash to get rid of it. You're just doing the same action onto different things, whether it's an object or a surface. It also just doesn't make as much inherent sense that you can destroy a trash object with a detergent, you know? So I'm glad that the game gives me the option of just yeeting things out of the window, because I think that is a more entertaining game mechanic. I just want more windows to yeet things out of, or, you know, just use the principle of it's fun to sort of play basketball with these objects to score them. It doesn't have to be a window. It could be that we have a couple of big trash cans laid out in different parts of the level and you're throwing stuff into them, because I don't think going around and shooting a totally stationary enemy that can't do anything is fun. And it's not a matter of it being like a casual versus a hardcore game. I just don't think, you know, having the verb to shoot and using that for like 100% of your gameplay, I don't think that's going to be as interesting as having shoot and throw. And I suspect the way that I learnt to throw stuff out the window isn't the intended way of playing this game. But it's hard to tell. Yeah, the leveling up is very slow. Getting rid of the trash by throwing it out the window is way more satisfying than shooting it. I think it's because you're kind of combining several mechanics at once. Like when I make that jump shot, it's like I'm having to do aiming, like clicking to shoot something in a particular direction and using the momentum of the jump, right? So that feels really fun. Even just doing that 10 times in a row is more enjoyable even though it's repetitive, it's more enjoyable than like standing in front of an object and shooting it when it can't fight back, because I don't really feel like I'm doing anything. It feels, again, it's funny that it has such a Robloxy interface, because they have so many games or experiences on Roblox that are just like stand in front of something and click for ages, and they're just there as time sinks, you know. Not that this is a Roblox game, this is a Godot game, but it's got some of the sensibilities of one, of just being like a massive massive time drain. And like I said at the start, I haven't oh, pizza down there, I haven't played things like Jet Wash Simulator, so I don't have that to compare this to. Oh, we've got a day and night cycle, that's nice. But I do find this enjoyable. I just think the most enjoyable part of it doesn't seem to be the intended way of doing things. And I think when your playtesters discover something like that, like that it's more fun to do things the wrong way in your game, you need to work out how to sort of move forward with that. Treating this more like a basketball game, and then with shooting for some other aspect of it, you know, like shooting the walls and then basketballing the items. That just feels like a much richer set of things that uses the 3D environment better. Because in the sort of FPS version of this game, as soon as we're shooting something, we're no longer moving. Right? It's like I move around the thing, splashing it, but there's no real reason to, so... But I do think this is charming. I think I like it from a visual, like, style perspective. I think just getting us to level up a lot quicker. I don't feel like my efficiency at cleaning has gone up much. Like, if you were to rewind now, you can see that I'm cleaning a much bigger area with each splash of my gun. But we've been playing for like 20 minutes or something, and I don't feel like the improvement in my tools has been significant enough in that time. I don't know if it's because I'm losing XP by throwing stuff out the window. I don't know. But yeah, I think I will want to feel this whole thing sped up a little bit in terms of the progression. QSuke DX said it would be good to have a melee weapon as well. Yeah, I mean, we have a set of weapons here, right? So it's sort of implying we're going to get other tools. But I don't know if they're actually in this build. Yeah, I would like to see some variation in the tools we get to use. I think a melee weapon makes a lot of sense. What's it called? Like a squeegee mop? Is it a squeegee mop? Like it's like a painting roller, right? But you wash things with it. Having one of those where you can like run up and whack these walls. I think this bubble gun, if we could level it up nice and quickly in the first sort of 10 minutes to the point where it starts to feel like, you know, almost like a flamethrower, but for soap, so you can sort of the walls. It may be that this game gets to that point eventually with the upgrades, but they are so slow to acquire. And I think there are a lot of ways of fixing that. I think one of them is just making the XP requirements for each level lower, but there might be some more fun gameplay ways of doing stuff. Like, one of the things that like these kind of lots of hidden objects type based games like Katamari often do is they have a classification for types of objects. And if you can do some stuff that works with that, you know, like maybe you get a couple of quests each level, which will grant you way more XP than just doing the grind. And they might be like find and remove 10 cans, or find and remove like this amount of food objects or whatever, like a category, or, you know, maybe it's literally this object, you know, just a bar with this and it says 8 of these. And when you get 8 of those, then you get like way more XP than you would have got for spending the same amount of time just like cleaning the walls and stuff. Because as soon as you start to go in that direction, then you have a couple of different competing priorities, and that gives the players little decisions to make, like moment to moment. Not very expensive to implement that kind of thing. You just have to look in the world, like count a type of object or add it, you know, when you add the quest, to say, oh, there's 10 of these beer bottles in the level now, go and collect 8 of those 10, you know? Anything where the player doesn't feel like they've only got one thing to do, and has like 2 or 3 things to do, because then even if the player isn't making a great deal of choices about their gameplay, they are at least making moment-to-moment decisions about what to prioritize, and that can be enough in some cases. I think there are the bones here for something that's really enjoyable, and like I find just the interacting with this world quite pleasant, even though it's obviously quite gross. I need it to go a bit faster, and I think the things you can do to make this game more varied aren't super expensive to implement. Right? Like having some sort of little quest system, some other way of getting XP more quickly that at the same time provides the player with a bit more of a feeling of choices they're making. And the other one would be randomly every so often spawning some XP pickups in different places so that you have to parkour around a little bit. And then again, you're creating a moment-to-moment decision of like, do I stay here for 5 minutes and just clean as much of this surface as I can, or should I be looking around more and just sort of spreading myself out and like gradually cleaning everywhere? Because if I do it that way, then I'm not going to miss these coins or whatever they are that you put in the environment, right? I think having something that promotes like constantly having to move around and look around a little bit will solve a lot of other problems that this game is going to have.
Thank you to the patrons.